guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Hi guys, I am back and feeling much better after all the drama from yesterday, and you guys have made the difference in that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you'd have to see the video from yesterday. YouTube has demonetized my channel, and I was feeling pretty, I don't even know what the word was, but I was very discouraged too, because I just thought, oh, what is the use? But you know something, you guys made all the difference. And I mean, your encouragement, your speaking scripture and the word to me, your prayers, your support, your donations, joining Patreon, it has made all the difference in the world to me. And it makes me realize that, gosh, you guys, you know, you really want this to continue. You enjoy these videos, and so I'm going to make you a deal. How about I'll keep showing up as long as you keep showing up? Doesn't get any better than that. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you. I'll tell you, you know, I keep saying we're all in the same boat. Well, I can't think of a better group of people I want to be in the same boat with me. Seriously. It doesn't get any better than this. And really, you guys have blown me away with your support and your kindness. I really appreciate it. So anyway, I'm back tonight. Excuse me, I've got an itchy nose. I'm back tonight, and I am going to be doing the Q post from yesterday, which I need to get caught up on. Then after that video is done and is being uploaded, I'm going to go on to the drop from today. There's a lot to go through, so it's going to take me a little while today, but I've got the rest of the night clear, and I've still got lots of energy, so I'm going to do at least 2 videos. And then there's another video that I would like to do if I have time that's related to something that Q dropped in the very, very last drop from today. But we'll get to that when it comes up. So we're going to start with the post from March 6th. And I hope everyone is doing well tonight. I am certainly doing much better than I was last night, and in a much better mood and feeling much better about the world in general. So we all have those days, and it's so wonderful when we have others that can help pick us up from those times. And I am grateful for that. Anyway, let's get started here. And I'll have you know, I'm wearing this shirt, and you're saying, yeah, so, well, I had this sitting in my closet, and I always loved it, but I thought it was too tight, and I put it on today, and it's not too tight. And, you know, nothing makes a woman happier than that. Nothing. So, yes, it's a good day. It's a good day. All right, so let's get into this. And the first one, Q gives us a link to an article by the New York Post that says Trump threatens to declassify devastating docs about Democrats. All about moves and counter moves, right? And that is exactly what Trump is doing. They're playing hardball. He's playing hardball. And he's saving this big, you know, bomb for, you know, the right time. That's what he's doing. He's got the goods. And I think they know he's got the goods. They should know by now that he doesn't fake people out. If he says he's got it, he's got it. So let's take a look at this. My kitten even has behaved today. Like, seriously, he's been a little darling. You would never know. You would never know that beneath that exterior. All right, let's look at this. Trump threatens to declassify devastating docs about Democrats. In a wide-ranging exclusive interview with the Post, President Trump said Wednesday that if House Democrats launched probes into his administration, which he called presidential harassment, and I think we would all agree with that. That's exactly what it is. And I've never seen the likes of it, ever. And I've never seen the disrespect toward the office of the president like we have seen in the last couple years, ever. Like, it was never that bad with Obama, even though there was a lot of people that didn't like Obama. They weren't threatening to or wanting to have him killed. They just didn't like his policies. It's something totally different with Donald Trump. But anyway, if the Democrats launch probes into his administration, presidential harassment, they'd pay a heavy price. If they go down the presidential harassment track, if they want go and harass the president and the administration, I think that would be the best thing that would happen to me. I'm a counterpuncher, and I will hit them so hard they'd never been hit like that, he said during a 36-minute Oval Office sit-down. My favorite saying is this. When I say, I don't know even where I got this. I think I picked this up from a friend of mine who also has a strange and bizarre sense of humor like mine. But she always says, I'm going to hit you so hard you'll starve to death bouncing. So that's what he should do. He should hit them so hard they'll starve to death bouncing. Absolutely he should. All right. That is, that's what he should do. That's how you deal with WSMs, whining, sniveling malcontents. That's what they are, WSMs. The commander-in-chief said he could declassify FISA warrant applications and other documents from Robert Mueller's probe, and predicted the disclosure would expose the FBI, the Justice Department, and the Clinton campaign as being in cahoots to set him up. I think that would help my campaign. If they want to play tough, I will do it. They will see how devastating those pages are. Oh, I know they are. But Trump told the Post he wanted to save the documents until they were needed. It's much more powerful if I do it then, Trump said, because if we had done it already, it would already be yesterday's news. Trump revealed his playbook just as Democrats are set to take over House committees in January, where they are poised to investigate his potential business conflicts of interest, tax returns, Russia dealings, and more. With the GOP losing power in January, its congressional investigations into alleged Department of Justice misconduct in launching the Russia probe is expected to fizzle out. In September, a group of Trump allies in the House, led by Representative Lee Zeldin of New York, called on Trump to declassify scores of Justice Department documents they believe undercut the start of the Russia investigation and show bias against Trump. The documents include Justice officials' request to surveil Trump campaign advisor Carter Page and memos on DOJ official Bruce Orr's interaction with Christopher Steele, the author of a controversial dossier that alleged Trump ties with Russia. Trump initially agreed to declassify the documents, including text messages sent by former FBI officials James Comey, Andrew McCabe, as well as Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and Orr. Trump allies believe the revelations will show favoritism towards Hillary Clinton and a plot to take down Trump. Well, of course that's what they'll show. Trump then reversed course, citing the need for further review and concern of U.S. allies. Trump added Wednesday that his lawyer, Emmett Flood, thought it would be better politically to wait. He didn't want me to do it yet because I can save it, Trump said. The president also pushed back on the notion that all the Justice Department documents should eventually be released for the sake of transparency. Some things maybe the public shouldn't see because they are so bad, Trump said, making clear it wasn't damaging to him but to others. Maybe it's better that the public not see what's been going on with this country. I think people are going to be pretty shocked when all this stuff comes out. And personally, I think this declassification of the FISA documents is actually the Trump card that Trump is talking about playing. You know, you play the Trump card and you win the game. So that's what I think the Trump card actually is. So, okay, I'm sorry. I've got, I'm a little ADD. And so I saw this over here and it caught my attention. This app lets you wag your robotic furry tail. All right then. Okie dokie. Let's go on, shall we? All right, let's go back here. So now Q is telling us to read carefully, knowing what you know now. Predictable, moves and counter moves. Death blossom. Q. Now, what's a death blossom? Well, I had to look it up. I had never heard that term, but I knew that it meant something, especially because it's also capitalized. I knew that's got to be something. It's referring to something. So I did look it up, and this is what I found for the definition. Death blossom. Now, some of you, and probably some of you guys already know what this means. American military slang from the war in Iraq. It's the tendency of Iraqi security forces in response to receiving a little fire from the enemy to either run away or do the death blossom, spraying fire indiscriminately in all directions. And so that, and used in a sentence, those policemen heard one gunshot and opened up a death blossom on the whole street. So a death blossom is basically when you're not actually aiming at a specific target and meaning only to hit that target. You're just spraying bullets everywhere and hoping to hit something. And I think that he's using this term in terms of what the Democrats are doing, because they are expending their ammunition. They're just shooting at everything that moves and expending their ammunition. And then when their ammunition's all out, well, Trump's going to come in and lay down the Trump card. That's exactly what's going to happen. And we know that that's what they're doing. They're just spraying indiscriminately. If they think they can get a response, and if they think they can keep this narrative alive in the mainstream media, then they're just spraying indiscriminately. They don't care. They're not actually aiming at anything at this point because they're all freaked out. Because Trump, there's a little bit of fire from Trump's side, and all of a sudden it's, death blossom spray, indiscriminately everywhere. But sooner or later, they're going to be out of ammunition. And then what? Well, then the FISA D-class comes and knocks them all out of the water. And I think people are going to be very, very upset. I don't know if there's going to be a way to spin it. Really, I really don't. Because if there was, I don't think Trump would be as confident as he is about all this, and Q. They're very confident about this. And they don't seem worried in the least. So obviously, if they're not worried, they've got something up their sleeve, and it's got to be something pretty major. Probably, a precision nuke, as opposed to just spraying indiscriminately. They're going to drop a tactical nuke, and that's it. It's all over. All right, let's go on. No, really, let's. Okay, here we are at the next one. And we've got a link to Sarah Carter's Twitter page, which I've clipped out to save us a little bit of time. And so let's look at this first. It says, this crisis has been brewing for decades. It can no longer be ignored. Something has to be done, both for national security and also for humanitarian reasons. Read here, border crisis hearing. It's real. It's serious. It is a threat. And that is via Sarah Carter, DC. And then Q, hang on here. Let's go back up. So there's that, and then it says, but the Democrats already know. They just lie. So Q is saying, yeah, the Democrats already know that this is a matter of national security, that there is a crisis at the border. They know. They've known. They were talking about it long before Trump ever came on the scene. It's just now that this is something that Trump has promised in his it's one of his campaign promises, right? And it's one of the things that the people that voted for him expect him to come through on. This is a big one, and a big reason he got voted in. One of the big reasons he got voted in. So yeah, they already know. They supported it long before Trump, but now Trump, they know this is a campaign promise. They know that it's very important that he get this done, so they're opposing it. And they are opposing him on every single front that they can. Now, let's go to this. And this is another Twitter status, but because it's a little video, I'm going to have to go out to it. And this is Dianne Feinstein, says, hurry and watch this video of Senator Feinstein. Twitter keeps deleting it so it doesn't get out into the public. So let me turn this on.
Enforce our border. Here are those who come legally at this time. And we've got to, for the time being, enforce our borders. The day when America could be the welfare system for Mexico is gone. We simply can't afford it. And I think you've seen the figures. to state and local governments of what the cost is. It's over $2 billion.
I think we should enforce our borders. To have a situation where 40% of the babies born on Medicaid in California today are born of illegal immigrants creates a very real problem for the state, which is in deficit.
Look, and of course you can enforce the borders.
Let me finish.
I agree.
To have 17% of our prison population at a cost of $300 million a year be illegal immigrants who come here and commit felonies. That's not what this nation is all about. Very simple. They've been enforce our border. They have been speed up the asylum process. They have been crack down on illegal smuggling. They have been remove the option that is given to an illegal alien convicted of a felony has an option of serving time in this country or in their own country. I say return them to their own country, wherever that country may be, to serve the time. So my proposals have been all along those lines, and I think most people have regarded them as moderate.
So what do you think of that? That doesn't sound like the Dianne Feinstein that we know, does it? Doesn't sound even remotely like the one that we've heard lately. In fact, if we didn't see this with our own eyes, we might be tempted to say, "No, she never said those things." But there she is, speaking them out of her own two lips. Nobody's holding a gun to her head, I don't think. So, yeah, that's how she felt back then, when it was convenient for her to feel that way. But it's not so convenient for her to feel that way now, is it? So, yeah. And Q tells us, and rightfully so, welcome to the Democratic Party con. And that's what it is, a con, Q. And I wanted to come down here because I have something else here that I think is interesting. And this is from an anon, and it shows, it says here, this is from the White House. Okay, it says, in the shadows, this is a tweet rather from the White House. It says, in the shadows, smugglers are showing illegal immigrants how to take advantage of recent court decisions to claim asylum and remain here indefinitely, the New York Post editorial board writes. Now, that was, let me see, let me make it a little bit bigger for you guys. I know some of you are on your phones. And this was sent, let me see, 11:48. It was sent 11:48, okay? And it was sent, let me see what date. March 6th. So it was sent yesterday at 11:48 a.m. The White House sent this tweet, okay? Now, at the same time, 1 minute earlier, Q wrote this, the post that we just looked at about with Sarah Carter's Twitter status and Dianne Feinstein, what she had to say, that was sent at 11:47, March 6th, 1 minute delta. Then, if we come down here, this is the New York Post article, and it was, it says more than 76,000 migrants crossed the southern border illegally last month, the highest number in 12 years. So much for all those media fact checks arguing that there's no emergency to justify President Trump's wall. Interesting that it's coming from the New York Post and it's in support of Trump. And that was sent at 11:48 a.m. So the White House sent this out at 11:48. This was sent at 11:48. And this was sent at 11:47. The Q post on the same same information, 1 minute delta, and here's a 10-minute delta. This was sent at 11:58, and this is Q. Freedom of thought will not only save you, but it will save the world. The days of fake news, control of narrative, brainwashing are over. Enemy of the people, the Great Awakening. Q. So they put this together just to show that, all of this is coordinated. It's very much coordinated, and it's interesting that the New York Times had this around the exact same time that Q was posting. Makes me wonder, really makes me wonder, if the black hats are no longer in control there. I don't know, but it's interesting nonetheless. So, we're going to go on now. Yes, we are. Here we go. Now, this is the one that came 10 minutes later that we just read. Freedom of thought will not only save you, but it will save the world. The days of fake news, which means their control of the narrative they want you to hear, those days are over. Well, I don't know if they're quite over yet, but they're coming to an end. The brainwashing of the people is over. Enemy of the people, speaking of the mainstream media, they are the enemy of the people because they're not giving us the real news. They're giving us a narrative they want us to hear and to believe. So keeping us enslaved, really, by false information. Manufacturing our consent. That is what they're doing. They're manufacturing the consent because, they give you the information that they want you to have so that you come to the conclusions that they want you to come to, right? And that's called manufacturing consent because they don't give you any information that might, have you choose another direction. They want you this way, so they frame the news that way, they frame the information, and they leave out, so it's not just that they're lying or they're twisting, they actually leave out. You know what I call that? It's not quite lying, but it's being economical with the truth, and that's what they're doing. Because I remember somebody saying to me, you know something, you never lie. You never lie. I know, I believe that you are very on the up and up. But on occasion, you are economical with the truth. And I thought, that is true. That is true because there are things that I don't tell certain people. I might tell them the truth about something, but I might not tell them everything I know about it. And so that's called being economical with the truth, and that is what they do. They not only lie, they not only twist, but they're economical with the truth, which really, when you get right down to it, is another way of lying. Sins of omission, I guess. Now, let's continue on. I don't want to get blabbing and then, not be able to get to the rest of the videos tonight. All right, so here's the next one. Feinstein said this many decades ago. She is absolutely full of it. Yes, she's full of something. Probably a brown and smelly substance, I would say. Now, Q responds to this and says, why is POTUS pushing for term limits? Time equals corruption. Q. And it's true. The longer that you're in Congress, the more it seems that you're open to corruption, because I think a lot of these people, including perhaps Senator Feinstein, I don't know, but she may have started off quite well and with very good intentions. And I think a lot of these people really do start off with good intentions, but I think that they get in there and they see the corruption and they probably get discouraged and they probably think, well, you know what? Why shouldn't I line my pockets? Everyone else is. I do. I think that's what happens a lot of times. People get disillusioned, like, oh my gosh. I was a little bit disillusioned when I started working for the police here in Canada because I saw things that I didn't think went on and really shouldn't go on. Now, they're not horrible things that would, but just things that really ought not be. And I can see really how over time a police officer could be influenced by that. And it's the same thing in government. So there you go. You rise or fall to the level of your associations. That's why it's important that you hang around with friends that, I love to be around people that are smarter than me. I love that. I really, really do. Because you rise or fall to the level of your associations. And I want to be around people that, incite me to be better, to be greater, to achieve more, to do more, to love more, I want to be around those kinds of people, not people that influence me in ways that I don't want to go. So let's go on. All right, let's. Sometimes I just talk to myself. I wish there was a way, and I guess if I did a live broadcast, we could have more back and forth, but I think when they demonetized me that they took that ability away from me as well, but I need to check, because if I did have that ability, that would be good to do occasionally, to have that, because I think it would just, there's more back and forth. You can communicate with me, I can communicate with you, I can see what you're writing, and it's just, you know, it's just more whatever. All right, let's go on. This is a big one, and it's a big one, as they say down south. It's a big one. I love the South. Okay, here we are. Now, this from, it's going to get interesting. This from Q, Facebook returning to the news. LifeLog, DARPA ends, Facebook begins. Now, this, if you're new to this, a long time ago, this was brought out by Q that actually LifeLog was a project started by DARPA, and it ended the day that Facebook began. So actually, Facebook is DARPA's LifeLog. It's just a different name and a different whatever, but it's all, it was a whole, it's a government meant to collect data. That's what it is. And definitely the government is involved big time in its, not only its start, but its development. LifeLog, DARPA, team transfer to Facebook. Yes, there was actually the head of LifeLog DARPA transferred to Facebook. And her name, Regina Dugan is her name. So what DARPA team members, past, present, work for Facebook? The only one that I'm aware of is Regina Dugan, and she is the former head of LifeLog. I would imagine that there's others, or Q would not have said what team members. He would not have said that if there were not others, but I'm not aware of others, and I couldn't readily find that information. I don't know if anybody else has found that information or not. I have not been able to find anybody that has that information, but perhaps someone has. If you know, let me know in the comments below. What divisions? Again, I don't know. Locate, 3 public. So there's 3 public divisions. There's 9 total. Okay, there's 9 total divisions in Facebook, which was DARPA's LifeLog. And there's 9, but 6 of those are not publicly known. So there's only 3 that are in the public. Building 8 exposed here. When? It was 4/11/18, and that is when, well, a year ago, basically, just about a year ago. And Q let us know about Building 8, which was the secretive building where they were working on all sorts of things for Facebook. And Q let us know about that. It was moved to China, I do believe. And it says, think, scramble, offline scrub, post, Xbox, PS chat logs drop. Remember when Q let us know that they were communicating, the deep state was communicating through actually Xbox chats and so forth. And they were also going into Google, and you know, when you, if you had the password and everything to my Google email, you could go in there and you could go into my draft and you could write an email to me, right? And then I could go later and it could see that email, but it would never have been sent anywhere, right? And that's what they were doing. They were all logging into the same email account and doing drafts and just adding to the draft. It would never get sent anywhere. But what they didn't know is that was being collected anyway. That data was being collected anyway. And remember back then in April, we had a big thing about this with Q and about all of this, how they were doing this and how they were communicating and so forth. So think, scramble, offline scrub, post Xbox, PS chat logs, drop, MS shut down immediately post drop. Remember that. Building 8 news release that they were restructuring Building 8. And that was 12/14/18. They said that Building 8 had been shut down, that it was closing up, that they were going to restructure it, blah, blah, blah. And this was, of course, after they you know, dropped that, yeah, we have the ability to read the chat logs and blah, blah, you know, we have it all. We have it all. So now It says, so 12/14/2018, apparently it died, but it didn't. So Q is telling us down here, RIP equals false. It didn't shut down. LifeLog never died, but was reorganized under what is now known as Facebook, and Building 8 did not die. It was reorganized in China. Yes, it was. Reorganization equals true. China, China, China. China, China, China. Open access, pay for play. Now, let's take a look at this article that Q is directing us to. All right. Facebook restructures Building 8, separating projects into reality labs and portal groups. Facebook is restructuring its experimental hardware efforts and giving its moonshot projects a home with its AR/VR research division. The restructuring, reported by Business Insider, paywalled, didn't result in any layoffs, but did see some shifts of teams as the old Building 8 group rebranded to Portal and some projects moved to the former Oculus research group, now Facebook Reality Lab. A Facebook spokesperson confirmed the reorganization to Business Insider. TechCrunch has reached out to Facebook for further comment. The Building 8 brand is dead, but the big change seems to be Facebook moving its more headline-grabbing experiments further away from its nearly ready-for-production ideas. With some of the more experimental hardware projects at Facebook, like a computer brain interface, soft robotics, and a project to hear through a skin-worn device, moving to Facebook Reality Labs, it's clear that the organization, once centered around AR, VR technologies, is seeing its scope expand to more distant reaching technologies that aren't vaguely ready for consumer products yet. Meanwhile, the Portal Group seems to be where some of Facebook's more in-reach consumer hardware products are living, with the newly released video chat device serving as the foundation. The leader of Building 8, Rafa Camargo, who took over after the departure of Regina Dugan, is the VP of the Portal team now. Meanwhile, Facebook Reality Labs is still led by Michael Abrash, who has long held a senior precedence in the company's AR/VR ambitions. Having products like Portal that are already for sale fall under the same leadership as invasive brain chips research probably didn't make a ton of organizational sense, especially when Facebook has already gone to lengths to separate projects focused on immediate product needs compared to the ones that are more far out in other areas of the company. Facebook's hardware ambitions are nascent, but now that they have a project on shelves, it's probably more clear that there are some completely different leadership needs, and an organizational restructure makes sense. Well, that's what they say anyway. Now, let's go back. So it wasn't stopped. Like Building 8, what they were doing, it wasn't stopped. It was just that it was funneled into different programs, never died. It was reorganized, and it has to do with China. So we're going to get to more of that. Open access, pay for play. Building 8 project at Facebook was not truly terminated as we were led to believe, but reorganized in China. Which laws prevent? Now, anything written in red, of course, are my notes, and anything in black is directly Q. Any links here are Q. So just so that you'll know the difference when you're looking at this. Now, laws which prevent CIA operations inside Homeland? And Q is asking that question. Are there laws which prevent CIA operations inside Homeland? But with all of Q's stuff, you can also read it as a statement. There are laws which prevent CIA operations inside Homeland. So always when he asks a question, it's almost always you can also read it as a statement, and it is correct. Yes, there are laws which prevent the CIA from operating domestically. The CIA was never intended to operate domestically. They were intended to operate, foreign soil. Then Q says bulk data collection, NSA, Homeland. So again, this can be a a statement, bulk data is collected via the NSA Homeland. Yes, it is. Data is collected under the NSA/Homeland Security, but that actual division of NSA and Homeland Security is allowed to operate domestically. So they can operate domestically, but the CIA is not set up to operate domestically. So bulk data collection, CIA, Homeland, yes, actually this data is being collected and used by the CIA. It's collected by the NSA and Homeland Security, but it's also used by the CIA, which really doesn't have the laws in place to operate domestically, and that's how they get around it. So how does the CIA avoid law trigger regarding umbrella spy Homeland? Well, they can avoid that by collecting data through alternate means, and the alternate means are through NSA and Homeland Security, including Facebook and all of the social media giants are tied in with the CIA and with the government. They are. That's just a fact, and Q is actually going to reiterate that to us as well. But yeah, so yeah, they can't get it themselves. The CIA is not supposed to. There are not laws in place that permit them to be collecting this data domestically, but the NSA does, Facebook does, Twitter does, all of these, Facebook, Twitter, who else? I don't know. They all collect this data, and yeah, they have access to it. Sure they do. Facebook, China, Building 8. Google, China, Dragonfly. These are programs. Facebook, China, Building 8 hasn't gone away. It's restructured and it's continuing in China. Google, they have something called Dragonfly, which we've looked at in the past. For those of you that are new here, you may not remember, or you may not have been here when we were discussing that. But again, that is a program through Google that is operating in China. Twitter. And I'm not sure what this U.S. leg track, I don't know if this means U.S. legacy track, I'm not sure. But we know that Twitter is tracking us as well. There's no question about that. Facebook, track user, GPS, voice and text. Again, we can read this as a statement. Facebook is tracking users using GPS, voice, and text. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And you want to prove it to yourself? You want to prove it to yourself? If you've got Facebook on your computer, your home computer, do something. Do something like start talking about, to just somebody in the room with you, start talking about something really, like something you would normally never talk about. Like, I don't know, if you're a retired couple, start talking about baby diapers. Or, something that in your household you would never really discuss. Like, whatever. Just start doing it. You will start noticing that as you are surfing around the web, you'll start getting these ads for baby diapers. And you'll think, well, boy, they don't know me very well because, I'm retired. My kids are grown up. They're out of the house, whatever. Yeah, you do that. Seriously, do it. I did that one time. I was talking about depends. And it's amazing how many, well, it's now called depend. I used to remember it as depends. It's that whole Mandela effect thing. But anyway, I was talking about that, joking about it with somebody, and all of a sudden I started to get all these adult diaper ads, and it made me laugh, but it literally made me feel creepy too, because I thought, oh my gosh, this really is true. They listen. So yeah, they know where you are, they know everything about you, and they can listen to your voice, and that's how they direct the ads to you. And if you are an individual that they're keeping an eye on, it's a way that they can spy as well. I don't know. But Google, track user, GPS, voice and text. Again, as a statement, Google does track users using GPS, voice, and text. Yes, they do. Twitter, track user GPS. Absolutely it does. Phone, pad, microphone, algo, embed. Phone, pad, microphone, algorithm embed. I'm not sure what they're saying there other than maybe phone pad, microphone, I'll go embed. Not sure. I'm not sure actually if they're talking about your smartphone or they must be. The microphone, it's an algorithm embed. I've heard that they can listen through our phones as well. All for marketing purposes as publicly disclosed? No. No, it's not. It's not for marketing purposes. It is. They do use it for marketing purposes as well. But is that its main purpose? Is that why it was developed? No. Who has access to bulk track data? NSA, Homeland Security, I believe. Who has access to bulk data? Well, actually, who has access to bulk track data? Really, it should be like these private companies should not have access to this kind of data and to track this kind of data. So we know that these companies are just an extension of the government, and they're doing it on their behalf. And that's a little bit scary, but it's the truth. If NSA has the ability to absorb data stream, UT in-house tools, does CIA have ability to collect data stream from funded, networked offshoots, big tech? Yes. Yes, and it was developed that way. And it should never be, because they are not supposed to have the ability to spy domestically. CIA is not even supposed to be operating domestically. But through funding these big tech giants, and they fund them. I mean, you name all the big tech giants, they were funded by the government, and you can check that out yourself. Now it says offshoots of big tech, yes. Offshoots necessary to avoid CIA breach of U.S. domestic law? Yes, that is exactly why they're doing that, because there's a law against them doing that, but they can do it through these tech companies, and that's why they funded these companies. That's what they, do you think they really care if we, are connected to one another and share our photographs and can date online and all these things? No, they don't. They don't care about that. They care about tracking. That's what they care about. Amazon server / cloud contract. Now, Amazon Web Services, AWS, is a secure cloud services platform offering computer power, database storage, content delivery, and other functionality to help businesses scale and grow. AWS supports the unique needs of the American intelligence community. So we know that Amazon, we've been told this before with Q, that Amazon is in bed with the CIA, and the CIA funds a lot of Amazon. And so let's go down here to more of what Q says. Amazon server cloud route data 1 to 99 domestic. Now, I'm not exactly sure what he is saying here. We know the Amazon server or the cloud routes data, but it says 1 to 99 domestic. I don't know what this 1 to 99 means, but basically, is the Amazon server cloud routing data domestically? Yes, absolutely it is. CIA tasked with gathering and analyzing info on foreign governments plus individuals. Signal intelligence covert. Yes, the CIA is not to operate domestically, but is tasked with collecting, analyzing, evaluating, and disseminating foreign intelligence to assist the president and senior U.S. government policymakers in making decisions related to national security. That is the job of the CIA. Now, the NSA, tasked with gathering and analyzing info on a global scale, including domestic, signals intelligence, covert. The NSA, yes, is responsible for global monitoring, including domestically, because we're part of the globe. The NSA is responsible for global monitoring, collection, and processing of information and data for foreign and domestic intelligence and counterintelligence purposes, specializing in a discipline known as signals intelligence, SIGINT. So we know that that's exactly what he's talking about, that covert signals intelligence, and that is the job of the NSA. But see, the NSA can, collect this globally, whereas the CIA can't. So that's where the CIA is getting this funneled through all of the tech giants as well as the NSA. What former U.S. president was a CIA director? Well, that would be George Herbert Walker Bush, Bush Sr., now passed on. And let's take a look at the link that he is giving us to look at here. George Bush saved the CIA. Really? The CIA was mired in controversy and battling for its life before George Bush took over and turned it around with long-lasting reforms. Yeah, there's a face we can trust. Yesterday, we didn't just lose a president and a war hero, we lost an incredible American that served our country his entire life in so many fascinating ways. He was the embodiment of a patriot volunteer, someone who raises their hand for the tough jobs because they know that it needs to be done right. Oh, I'm sorry. Come on, everybody. Come on. Collective eye roll. Do you feel better? Because I do. In his career as a public servant, George Bush's willingness to step up what at the time was a Central Intelligence Agency in freefall was probably the best embodiment of this trait. So the time that Bush took the reins as Director of Central Intelligence, DCI, was so dismal for the CIA that some were questioning if it would even survive, and if so, in what form. The CIA has a page describing the providence Bush brought to the beleaguered institution. It states, in part, an agency on the brink. The turbulent 1970s came to be known as the time of troubles for the CIA. 6 different DCIs served within a 10-year time frame, and the agency was shrouded in controversy from the Vietnam War, and covert action programs leaked to the press. By far the most devastating and controversial and consequential leak involved the family jewels. Family jewels? That's okay. When I think of family jewels, I think, never mind. A list compiled for DCI James Schlesinger detailing controversial and in some cases illegal activities undertaken by the agency. By December of 1974, the list had ended up in the hands of investigative journalist Seymour Hersh. President Gerald R. Ford sought to quell public and congressional concern by establishing a blue ribbon commission led by Vice President Nelson Rockefeller to investigate any domestic espionage by the agency. Yeah, there's someone we can trust. Nelson Rockefeller. Congressional committees led by Representatives Otis Pike and Senator Frank Church were formed in early 1975 and aimed to expunge the questionable activities of the CIA in the 1970s. Church referred to the CIA as a rogue elephant, claiming it was unsupervised and designed to tell the president what he wanted to hear. Neither committee discovered evidence capable of destroying the agency, although the hearings decimated the public image of the CIA and the pride of its employees. As the committees continued their investigations into late 1975, the Ford administration had come to feel that then DCI William Colby had disclosed more information to Congress than was necessary. This belief, coupled with the harsh reality that a dark cloud now hung over the CIA, led the president to conclude the agency needed a new sense of morale and a new director who could improve strained relations with Congress. On January 30th, 1976, Ford replaced Colby with George H.W. Bush. Yeah. He was the man for the job, apparently. Now, let's go down. I don't want to read all this. Something, I'll tell you something. His wife gives me the heebie-jeebies. I'm just saying. She really does. I don't know why. She just does. Anyway, I'm not going to get into all that. So, Oh, the job quickly went from a reluctant duty to a labor of love. He was fascinated by the camaraderie, secrecy, and creativity, the technology, and everything else that went with working at the CIA. Bush quickly educated himself on all the ins and outs of ongoing CIA operations and the critical intelligence products that the agency was furnishing the military and government decision makers on a daily basis. He wasn't just a big picture executive, he was also an intelligence officer personally editing important briefs to the National Security Council and oft-times presenting them in person so that he can convey his analysis and emphasize key points. La 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 la. This is just like a love letter to him, isn't it? Let's just all just sit around and worship him. Anyway. Okay, so he supposedly saved the agency. I can't stomach too much more of this, so I'm not going to read anymore. I'm sorry, but I just can't. It's just a big old love letter to George Bush, and yeah. All right, let's go back. So, he was the former CIA director. Think CIA, Brennan, authorized a spy campaign on the U.S. Senate under Hussein. And yes, he did. Brennan did authorize a spy campaign on the U.S. Senate under Hussein. So yeah, they spied on the Senate. Think CIA install campaign U.S. House and Senate infiltration. So yeah, they've infiltrated the U.S. House and Senate. And it says part 1 of 9. Interesting. Q. Now, I'm not sure what he means here, part 1 of 9. I know he said that there are 9 divisions in, was it DARPA? Not DARPA, but let me see now. Where did he say there was 9 divisions? In the Facebook, what they were doing? There was 9, only, and 6 of them were covert, 3 of them public. I don't know if he's talking about that. I'm not sure what he means, 1 to 9. Let me know what you guys think, because you know what? I'm interested. All right. So, Bush Sr. was the first to begin a spy campaign on U.S. citizens and did so without the knowledge of Congress. Brennan continued by ensuring that the CIA had access to the NSA's bulk data collection abilities. The idea was to set up shop, so to speak, in China while Trump was in office. Development would continue in China until Trump was ousted, and then the Democrat deep state would implement it domestically. So I knew that. I knew all this stuff that they're developing in China. They literally had an eye to bring it here. And if we did not have the president that we have right now, this is what we would be facing. So, yeah. Obviously, the CIA exceeded its intended scope and authority by violating the Constitution. Social media was covertly set up to collect bulk data on American citizens and all CIA access to the information which would be stored in China. Yeah, that's a great place to store it, isn't it? Now, I've got a little article here that I pulled out, the difference between the CIA and NSA, but I've already kind of gone over that the CIA is foreign, NSA global. That is one of the main differences, and NSA is more involved in signals intelligence. This is interesting, again, by an anon. Deep state controlled mass surveillance and social mapping. Here is DARPA, where it all started. United States Department of Defense, the Pentagon, and it was run by Regina E. Dugan, who is now with Facebook, or who was with Facebook. I believe she still is. And here, DARPA led to Google, which led to Alphabet Google, and to LifeLog, which led to Facebook. And then Facebook led to YouTube, and that is also part of Alphabet Google, and Twitter, run by Jack Dorsey, and the Brain Initiative, which I don't know too much about, and 23andMe, which of course is a DNA. You can send them your DNA and they will send back information about you. Ancestry.com also And LinkedIn is also all connected with Google. So Facebook and Google, all of this stuff is connected with DARPA, and it was originally designed to collect our data. Yeah. Project, and also Motorola, Google, Facebook, Motorola Skip. Not so much sure about all this stuff, but total human mapping, social profile, DNA, brain, and facial recognition, and that's the goal, and they've already accomplished that. So anyway, well, I'm not so sure about the brain, but they've definitely conquered the other. So let's go on. I know this is a lot of information, but I'd rather give you too much information than not enough. Because there's a lot of places out there that they just read through them, and that's great for people that just want somebody to read through them, but I really want to know what we're looking at and what it means. So this is, Q is making reference to this from an anon, and this anon, this is from April 11th, 2018, so almost a year ago. And this is where we first heard about all of this, and it talks about the Pentagon killing LifeLog project, which we now know they didn't do. It wasn't killed, it was just resurrected under a different name, and so forth. Facebook, and then it says, check the dates. Pentagon kills lifelong. Well, it should be LifeLog project, not lifelong. Pentagon kills LifeLog project. Same day, Facebook is formed. Yes, that is the truth. And we know why. And then Q responds, finder of this should apply to the NSA. So he doesn't deny it. That's when all this first started coming out. And Q's saying, look, whoever found this out should apply to the NSA. And I think they should too, because that's, that was a pretty good find, if you ask me. Which you didn't, but if you did, I would have told you that. No, let's come up to here. No, really, let's. Oh, all the way up here. All the way up. Come on. Get it moving. Slow. Here we go. Here's the next one. Alrighty. And it's a great big old picture of a pen. 2 pens. This is definitely Trump's pen. I recognize that. Whose pen is this? I don't know. I wish that I could see in the reflection, but I can't. 2 pens. So is something coming up? Is something going to be signed coming up? And beneath it, it has a link to this Twitter account, and I have clipped it out for us to save us a little bit of time. It says, we hear his sources are very credible. Q. Who's he talking about? Well, he's talking about Hannity. Sean Hannity. And this is the Twitter page, a Twitter account that he's referencing. Listening to Hannity radio in my car just now. Sean seems calm, confident, and at peace. He mentioned 3 different times. My sources are telling me all will be well and that justice is finally coming. It's coming. Hashtag where we go one, we go all. Hashtag QAnon. Hashtag dark to light. Interesting. And here we got a little picture of Sean Hannity. And so interesting that Q says, we hear his sources are very credible. So we know that his sources are obviously either Q or they're White House sources. They are credible sources. So this should be good news for us, right? I mean, should be. I think it is. I think it's darn good news. I want justice to come. I wanted justice a year ago. But, it'll be worth the wait. All right. Sorry, a yawn was taken over. I tried to keep my mouth closed because nobody wants to see in your mouth, All right. Now, here is the next one. I love this little picture of this little guy saluting the flag. I think that is just awesome. just a little gaffer, a little patriot. And there is a link to a YouTube, and I'll discuss that in a moment right after I read this. Never in our history has communications project such as this taken place. Has a communications project such as this taken place. Return power back to the people. Truth, transparency, and equal justice under the law. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men and women, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on to them to do the same. Reagan. United we stand, July 4th, 2019. Where we go one, we go all. Q. Now, it's very, very interesting when he said, United we stand, July 4th, 2019. It is so strange because I felt, and those of you that are believers will understand what I'm saying. It's not that we hear an audible voice, but in your spirit, it's a very small, quiet voice. And I was on the couch. I wasn't even thinking about the states or anything. And I just heard in my spirit, you will be in the States for July 4th. You'll be there. And I got so excited. And then I saw this, July 4th, 2019. There must be something that's going to be planned. There must be something. Well, I want to be in the States on that day. Even if I have to return, but I want to be there on that day. I really do. I want to celebrate with everyone July 4th. I'm excited. I just feel like there's something coming. And July 4th is going to be a good time for us. We will be celebrating as Americans our freedom and independence. So that is an awesome, awesome thing to look forward to. Now, I can't go out to this movie because it is just because of copyright crap. So what it is the movie trailer to the movie White Squall. And I'm going to put it in the description. I'll put a link to it in the description. It's worth watching, and the movie's worth watching. If you haven't seen the movie, that's where that saying, well, I know it's also on the bell that was on, I don't know, it had something to do with JFK's yacht, the bell. It said, where we go one, we go all, but also it's in this movie. That same thing is in this movie. So that's what that is. Sorry I can't go out to it, but now we might be on to the 7th, or we might not, and we're not. All right, so here we are. Here is the next one. Now, this is, let me see now, it's making reference to this Twitter account, which is this, and it says, Facebook launches research lab building 8 with former DARPA chief, who is the lady that we already referred to. What is her name? Dugan. I've forgotten now already. I think it's Darla Dugan. maybe. Anyway, so let's take a look at this. Define LifeLog, DARPA, an anthology-based subsystem that captures, stores, and makes accessible the flow of one person's experience in and interactions with the world in order to support a broad spectrum of associates, assistants, and other system capabilities. The objective of the LifeLog concept was to be able to trace the threads of an individual's life in terms of events, states, and relationships, and it has the ability to take in all of the subject's experience, from phone numbers dialed and email messages viewed to every breath taken, step made, and place gone. Define Facebook. The Facebook service can be accessed from devices with internet connectivity, such as personal computers, tablets, and smartphones. After registering, users can create a customized profile revealing information about themselves. Users can post text, photos, and multimedia of their own, devising and sharing it with other users as friends. Users can use various embedded apps and receive notifications of their friends' activities. Users may join common interest groups, compare and contrast. DARPA senior employees went to Facebook. DARPA terminates program February the 4th, and Facebook, okay, so DARPA terminates the program February 4th, 2004, and Facebook was founded February 4th, 2004. DARPA equals Facebook. Q. Yes, and we knew that before. Q has told that, but obviously this is important going forward. He's reminding us and adding new information about some of the things that we've been hearing over the last year. I've been noticing that more and more lately, that what Q is doing is he's not only touching on things that we touched on in the past, but he's adding a little bit more information, and more things make sense because we have more of a base on which to base it on, because we've been slowly learning about all these things. If we were to try to learn all this at once, it couldn't be done. You think about just the sheer volume of information that we've learned in a year and a half. It's mind-boggling, really, literally. So yeah. Anyway, let's go on. All right, and here's the next one. We're still on March 6th. Logical thinking. Did DARPA complete, build, code, taxpayer-funded LifeLog program? After completion, was there fear the public wouldn't accept the adoption if known it was Department of Defense, CIA-backed? Do you believe people would join a platform knowing it was under the control of the CIA and federal government? No. How do you lure the masses into entering all their personal info and private messages, i.e. their life log, onto a new platform? Do you make it cool? How did Facebook supposedly start and launch? Ivy League only? Yes, it was started at Harvard, and yes, it was Ivy League only, and then it spread to universities, and then it went public. Develop a trend and or a following? How do you keep the project running without public taxpayer funds? Department of Defense reported LifeLog was terminated to Congress/Senate OS. Define black budget. And I think we all know what a black budget is. It's things that, there's money for that, but it's not really on the record. Kind of like the whole slush fund kind of idea. Like they fund these things using, money that isn't traced, maybe from illegal activities, whatever, but that is a black budget, and there's really no record of that money, where it went, so forth. Did Hollywood push? Oh, they sure did. Remember the movie, The Social Network, I think it was called? Big movie that was out about Facebook and how it was started. Yeah, Hollywood all pushed it. And of course, Hollywood was on there too with their Facebooks and their friends and everything. And we thought that it was just so cool. I remember when I joined Facebook way back, and I remember my niece saying, "Oh, I've got the coolest aunt ever," because it was young and hip and cool. And that's what the young people were all doing. And, you know, I was in a techie job at that time. So I joined it and I started getting into it. And, you know, it was seen as, you know, young and hip and cool, and everybody was doing it. And then it even caught on with older people, like retired people. And, you know, I mean, my mom even had a Facebook profile at one point. She didn't really like it too much, but, you know, I mean, yeah, they made it seem like, oh, everybody has to have one. And you started collecting with all these people that you hadn't heard from in like years and years and years. It was very exciting to me, because I'd been living in the States for many, many, many years, and I still had friends back in Canada, and then I could connect, and it was like, wow, this is like so neat. But if I'd known it was government funded, you know, that they had developed, if I'd known it was government developed, no, I wouldn't have entered my information in there. No. Who would? No one. Well, maybe there's some, but very few. All right. Do people follow the stars? Of course. And if the stars are on Facebook, you can bet that people will follow them. Competitors strategically attacked MySpace to prevent competition, and that's exactly what happened. Because MySpace used to be the big thing. Well, you never hear about that. I don't even know if it even exists anymore. I don't think so. Maybe it does. I don't know. But yeah, MySpace used to be the big thing. I didn't think that would ever go away, but it's gone. The largest collective social media platform in the world, billions logged, and that is the truth, is owned and operated covertly by the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States of America. The more you know. Q. So he is laying it out with no ambiguity, no shades of gray at all. Facebook is CIA. All these billions of people worldwide entering their data are just feeding this information to the CIA. Yeah, the more you know, says Q. Sometimes I wish that I didn't know. Facebook is a social networking service launched as FaceMash. This is my notes, not Q's. In July 2003, but later changed to Facebook on February 4th, 2004. It was founded by Mark Zuckerberg, no it wasn't, with his college roommate and fellow Harvard University student Eduardo Saverin. The website's membership was initially limited by the founders to Harvard students, but was expanded to other colleges in the Boston area, the Ivy League, and gradually most universities in the United States and Canada. Corporations, and by September 2006 to everyone with a valid email address, along with an age requirement of being 13 or older. So, and then of course I just put here so I'd remember about the movie The Social Network that came out in 2010. Well, let's move on. No, really, let's. All right. Are we on to the 7th yet? Boy, there's like so many under March 6th. Oh, we are on to March 7th. Woohoo! We made it. All right, I'm going to break here. And while this is uploading, I'm going to continue on with March 7th. So that will be here later tonight for you. I promise, Lord willing, as long as the cat doesn't sneak up and shoot through my cord or anything. Well, I have an extra cord actually here if the cat does do that. But I think that he is off sleeping somewhere. Probably had a little bit too much catnip. Anyway, that is it for tonight. Again, I want to thank you guys so much. I feel like I know a lot of you just because you leave a lot of comments and things, and I really do. I enjoy this. So anyway, thank you so much for your support and your encouragement, your prayers, your donations. I don't even know how to thank you all. I really don't. All I know to do to thank you is to keep doing videos. So that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. And I will see you a little bit later. So I'm going to sign off now.